So if you got a flat and it's the front tire, that's going to be the easiest one to fix. The rear tire, there's a little bit more involved in terms of how to properly remove the rear tire because you got the cassette. So on the front tire, it's easy. Okay. So this apply to. Come a little closer.
Okay.
This is going to apply to the rim brake type. Okay, because if you have a disc brake, it's a little bit different, and you know. But on the rim brake, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and flip this brake lever up. That will widen up the brake, so allow you to easily take off the front tire. And then you go ahead and release the lever, and then you should easily be able to remove your tire. Okay, and then if you're on the road, find a nice flat spot to lay your frame down. Okay, you have a flat tire. Okay, you're taking the wheel off and you can't see any visual mark on the outside. So more than likely it's a pinch flat. Okay, so a lot of time the tire is stick to the rim. Okay, so what you have to do is you got to go around by pinching both sides in like this to kind of release it from the lip, because sometimes the tire is hang on the lip of the rim. So what you do is just kind of go around, pinch it in to release it. Okay, now that's released, I'm going to take a tire lever. Okay, and I'm going to take this side. There's two sides. This side got a hook, and it's basically for that. But you take the side that's got that little flat area right here, and then you get it underneath. See that? Get it underneath. You pop it up. And typically you can slide it with one across like this. Slowly you can get it, the tire, to pop up. If not, you're gonna have to use two. So get one here and then get another one underneath. And then you pop it up like that. Okay, and then you hold this one and you should be able to slide this across like that. See how it came out?
Yeah.
See, you slide like that. Okay, once you do that, then you reach in and pull the tube out. Again, at this point, you can take your mouth and blow up the tube and find out to see where the hole is, to see if you have a pinch flat or a puncture. So before you put a new tube in, especially if you have a puncture, you know, inspect the inside to make sure that there's nothing sharp. You do it slowly, okay? Because you don't want to cut your hand, but just look at and feel it. You can feel anything rough inside the tube to make sure that there's no puncture. There is no puncture in this tire. It's still good. So you did not have any external damage. Like I say, if there's a hole from a nail or something, you take this duct tape and you put it on the inside to seal the hole. Okay, it'll do a good job of preventing anything sharp from getting through to the tube. Okay, now that you inspect it, everything looks good, you take a new tube. Now, when you're on the road, the only way you don't have a pump, but at home you can use the pump to pump this tube. You cannot install like this. See, I press this down to make sure it's released. Then I blow it by hand. Just to get some air in it. Okay? That's good enough. Okay? So, but since I got a pump here, I will use the pump just to expand the tube a little bit. Okay? And then what you do is you peel back the tube, stick it in the hole, then go ahead and release the air, and then you slowly go around the rim by hand. Okay, then I start out right here. By the way, for this type of tire, the carbon tire, you're gonna need to have a minimum of this type of tube without having to use a valve extender. Presta 60 millimeter long, okay? And you see how much it stick out. This is perfect. By the time you feel it stick out that much. If anything shorter than that, you're gonna have to use a valve extender, okay? 60 millimeter is perfect for this. This is 45 millimeter tall rim, and you need a 60 millimeter Presta valve, okay? Okay, so you got the tube in. Now you start off where the stem is, and you slowly press down. Okay, you go around away from the rim, from the stem. Go around the rim. And you got to be careful. You see right here, you don't want to pinch this tube between the tire and the rim. That's how you're going to damage it, and that's what's going to happen in the other flat. Is that okay? You got to be careful to make sure that the tube is tucked well up inside the tire, so it doesn't get accidentally pinched like this. See, like this. That's how you damage it, because you make a weak point right here. It's not going to fail right away, but after you ride a while, this weak point is going to, like a balloon, it's going to pop. Okay, so you got to be careful when you put your tube in. As you go around, you got to tuck the tube well inside. See that? You take your hand, make sure it's tucked inside and protected. Okay, so I'm gonna go slowly. See? I make sure. See, I could easily get caught. See right there? See? I'm slowly working to the opposite end. Okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my hand and pull the extra, okay, down. And so I try not to use, on these rims, try not to use the tire lever. What I'm going to do is, look, slowly press my hand. See? As you get closer, see? I'm just going to stretch it like this. Stretch it over. Again, make sure that the tube, see, it got in. Now, before I inflate it, I go around to make sure that, see, I pinch it to make sure that the tube is not sticking on the outside. See, there's no tube. It's not on the outside of the tire. See this? I go around, I double check to see the tube is sitting well inside the tire. I go around and double check. I use the starting point at the stem and go around, make sure the tube is well inside. I'm now back to the starting point. So now you're ready to fill the tire, okay? And now you got one of these CO2 canister, okay? The way I did this was I put it inside out, upside down. So when you're ready to use it, I flip the bottle. See? I flip it and put it in the right way because there's a little needle inside this. So as you tighten this, it will puncture that. Okay, it'll seal, and then all you do is just go ahead and use this like a regular pump. Just tighten this against the stem like this. Okay, and then you just inflate it. Now, here is a little tip. You take both hands. and you feel like on the good tire, feel how much you can compress, okay? Because you don't have a tire gauge out there. So what you do is you take both hands, kind of feel like, okay, this is how much pressure it is. Then you fill it up and fill it, so that way you have the same pressure on the tire that you're pumping this air into. Now, it's important to note that this type of CO2 cartridge is temporary, because after about 8 hours, because the air that's in here is lighter, so it will leak out. So people who fill this up and say next morning find that their tire is flat, thinking, oh, my tire is flat again. No, because you use the CO2 is only temporary. When you go home, after you fill with this type of cartridge, you have to release the air and use the regular pump to pump the tire back, the air back into your tire, okay? So this is only temporary. Release the air from this. When you get home, use the regular air pump to pump the air, okay? So that's how you use one of these cartridges. So I put it on this type of cartridges. I just put it upside down, so that way there's no way damage. That's the way I store it. Okay. So typically, if I'm doing this repair at home, I would pressurize the tire the night before. So that way, if I made a mistake and the air doesn't hold, I will know it. Okay? Don't try not to do it like, oh, okay, do it before you ride, because, you know, give yourself a little bit of safety margin. So this is a 28 size tire. So typically 28, about 70 psi. In the winter, I'm gonna go live up about 75. Pump it up slowly to make sure that there's nothing pinched. Yep, okay, looking good. I'm gonna go about 75 during the winter, because in the winter it's 75. You lose air, the cold air, you lose a lot. Because in the summer, the hot air, you know, it's expand. In the winter, it just contracts. So I like to go a little bit more, 75, and then I tighten up. Okay. And look, that's a 60 millimeter on this 45. It's perfect. That's the perfect length. Now, you go and check. Nice and tight. Good pressure. Okay. So if you're doing this overnight, leave it overnight, and then the next morning, check to see if it should hold 75. You should not lose any air, because if you pump it to 75 and overnight and you check again the next morning and it's not 75, that means your repair is not good. Okay? Do it again. So before you ride, I like to let it sit for 24 hours, because what happened is pressurizing for 24 hours. There's a weekend you did something wrong, it's usually, okay, you know, it will expose itself. So don't wait, try to do it the night before. You put the tire back. Remember, the lever I already put on the right side, facing the tire. We'll have a separate video for the rear tire. And this is a general tire repair. This applies to rear tire and front tire. Now to tighten this lever, especially on rim brake, you want to close this lever down first. Okay, so it's locked. Now you tighten down by making sure that the gap between the two brake pads are even. And then what you do is you then go ahead and tighten the lever. Make sure you're able to flip the lever with some, to me that's about the right pressure. And then what you do is you spin to make sure it's rotating freely, it's not rubbing, and then you check the brake. Do that a couple of times. You're good, you're ready to get back on the road. Okay, you guys have to practice this. Don't wait until you're on the road. Practice it. Remember, when you have a flat, if you're on the road, try to find a safe spot to pull over. Flat area where you can park your bike. Okay, walk to a safe area. Just do that. Don't do it in the middle of a road where it's busy. Okay, get to a safe spot to do your repair. Take your time, there's no hurry. Okay? Okay, guys.
Thank you.
This only happen once in every blue moon.